Hey Montevi, Dallin and Randy and Henry and Mauricio and Katie here from the world headquarters. Wanted to say hello to everybody. Hope life is going amazing and you're having a meaningful day and a meaningful week. I want to just have a little round table here for just a minute. The last video I shot, I talked about how Mauricio was on his way down to Brazil to an event that ended up having over 7,000 people there. Brand new presidential Black Diamond and Marcus. Amazing leadership in Brazil. And how excited I was that Mauricio was going to be able to get down to the More Project. And I knew that him doing so, it'd help him understand more the purpose of Montevi and why we're in business and the things that we do. So maybe Mauricio, just share with the group a little bit briefly your experience of the More Project.
Well, the More Project was the second half of the trip to Brazil, and it started with an amazing event. Almost 8,000 people, all about a more meaningful life. People excited because they're getting a more meaningful life, and that is great. I mean, when you travel, I don't know, overnight flight there, and after 14 hours, and you say, what is that is going to be? And you see that kind of energy and that kind of essence being shown by these people. It's rewarding. It's great. It makes your job easier and nicer. And then I went to Rio, and we spent a day with the More Project and the favela, in the favela and in the project. And it's mixed feelings always. It's super, super, super great to see what the kids are doing and how Sergio is working with them and all the team there and what Montevi represents for them and all the love you feel from the kids. For the other side, you know, when you go to the favela, you see how much else we can do. And that's what pumped me up more, because there's lots of things to be done. And the More Project is not just something that we do, it is what we do. It's in the essence of Montevi. It's in the center of what we do, and getting a more meaningful life for us, for others. That's what drives me. That's what I think drives Montevi and should drive every single distributor. So,
how much money did you raise for the More Project?
Oh, that was an amazing situation, because I would take a second of the video, but I was talking to one of our distributors there, and he said, you know what? In these events in Brazil, normally people don't stand up and give back, you know? We get 5,000 or something like that, reais, which is $2,500. And they said, well, yeah, is that true? Yeah. So Sergio went on stage and explained that and took his word with them, and all the team, all of us were there just saying, you know what, this is what we are. Suddenly, we've got 200,000 reais, which is $100,000 out of these people that everybody step up.
That's amazing.
And came with something to give. And the most important thing is that the leaders, the big leaders, came up on stage without us, the corporate people on stage, and they said, listen, we are putting this amount of money, so what about you guys?
Let's do it together.
Yeah, so all together, all the leaders together, it was just a rewarding trip.
You know, I'm so glad that, and we're all glad that you're able to go to the More Project. And that day, I mean, I've heard people all over the world say, well, in our country, we don't do that. People are more closed. But everywhere I've gone around the world where we've had a gift for the More Project, virtually everybody is out of their seats. They're going up to make a contribution. And whether it's $1, whether it's $1,000, it doesn't matter. It's about making a contribution and helping people live a more meaningful life. Those are the reason why Montevi's in existence. Yesterday, Carrie and I had the great pleasure of traveling down with Katie to, and Henry had just been there a week earlier, going to Arizona, meeting with one of the great Montevi distributors around the world, Ruth Van Buren. She's got some challenges right now with some cancer, and her husband Curtis was there. And we had such a wonderful and meaningful visit with Ruth in her room as she was preparing to go for radiation treatment. And you know, we went there because we wanted to make a difference and let her know that we were representing Montevi and the world of Montevi, because this is a community of people that we need to lift each other and help one another in times of need. That's so important, and the value of faith and belief in people holding hands and really believing for somebody and for things and people. And so she was so grateful, got all emotional. And, I told Ruth that we came to give, but yet we left receiving so much more than we gave, because she has such a great attitude. And I'm so grateful for her Montague family around the world who were thinking of her and praying for her. And she asked me to pass on her regards to everybody in Montague and tell you how much she loves each and every one of you. And I know that there are so many families out there that are having similar challenges around the world. And I want you to know that Carrie and I, on a nightly basis, we pray for you and your families. But that was, we talked about a more meaningful life. And that's what it is to me. It's about whether we're in Brazil, whether we're in Arizona, whether we're in Thailand, where you just were, Randy, wherever in the world we are. It's about being there in people's time of need, not just about building a business. Yes, that's important, and the money's important, but to help pay the bills and stuff. But what's most important is the relationships and helping people. A smile, a hug, those are worth so much. So Ruth said, I want everyone to know how much I love life, and I value every breath I take and every minute of every day, and I'm not taking it for granted. And she wouldn't let go of us as she hugged. And it was an emotional day for us. And I'm grateful to be surrounded by people who are making a difference on a daily basis. Randy, why don't you just share with the group where you've been over the last week?
Well, thank you, Dallin. As you're talking about the More Project, and I miss going down there to Brazil and seeing the kids, but I just got back. I was in Malaysia. We had an amazing event there in Malaysia, their 3rd year anniversary. The thousands of people there. It was an incredible event. And I was in Thailand, then in Phuket, and then in Bangkok. Then we went over to Bali, and we had a ruby fly in there. But you're talking about a more meaningful life. What struck me is, what does that mean? That really means connection. Because, the money is important, the ranks are important, but when people like Ruth and other people that are suffering, and when you're in the hospital, that money doesn't mean anything. That rank doesn't mean anything. What really means something is the relationships, the connections you make. And so as I travel around the world, I'm absolutely blown away by the connections that I have and the distributors have with one another around the world. And I was touched. Chinese-speaking distributor hardly says a word. He donated $7,000, I think, US dollars to the More Project. And I never even knew that, but there's people all around the world willing to give of themselves. And that's what makes Montague a more meaningful company, is that we can connect one another. That's what we're here for. That's what we're designed to do, is to connect with each other. And so I'm just so proud. It's very, we're almost never together as a group here. In fact, this is the first time I think since we came on board that all of us have been together. So it's good to come back here and connect with my brother Dallin and Henry and Mauricio and Katie and just feel of their goodness. And I appreciate all of you. Appreciate these guys more than they know. So thank you all.
Thanks, Randy.
Thanks.
And Henry's out on the road doing a bunch of meetings. Where are you headed in the next couple of weeks?
Well, it's exciting. I agree with what Randy says. It's all about the relationships. It's all about being with the people. And the last 6 weeks probably been in Portugal, Bahamas with the Gold Cruise, Peru, and I'm excited. I'm going down to Brazil at the end of this month again. I always love going down the More Project, so we have a More Project expedition the last week in May, first part of June, so I'll be down there for that and meetings in Brazil. But catch me locally. I'm going to be in Phoenix next week for a couple days, in Long Beach next week, following week in Austin, Houston, the following week in Bismarck, North Dakota. So I'm coming to North Dakota. I think when I get back from Brazil, I'm off to Florida for a meeting. So anyway, I look forward to seeing all of you. I just love being with you.